we would like to ask all the participants to kindly mute their microphones upon entering the session. And we also encourage everyone to listen attentively and be able to take notes of the questions that you may have asked later on during the question and answer session. So we will be posting the format. So here is the rules of the webinar, and also you can see the format of the questions. So if you want to ask the questions, you can use this format. Hi, and then the name of the speaker, and then and then you mention your name from your country, and then you can type your question, okay? And if you would like to ask your question directly, so you can please use the raise hand function in the Zoom and wait to be acknowledged later on by the moderator before you ask your question. So we encourage you to turn on your camera when doing so. Okay, so this event aims to build a positive and encouraging community for education enthusiasts, and also to enrich the participants and also speakers' understanding with the theme focusing on the important portfolio for the future education. So we hope to help you to plan your future education and work. Okay, so now we will be proceeding with the sharing session. So we have 4 distinguished speakers lined up today. We have 4 plus 2, okay? We have 6 speakers line up today in order to share their experience about portfolio and future education. So each of our speakers will share their thought, and after all the speakers done sharing, we will continue discussing the questions asked by the participants. So during the speaker's presentation, you can just drop your questions to certain speakers, or it can be to all speakers by typing the question in the chat room, okay? Without further ado, let me introduce the first speaker here. We have Mita Jasmine. She's the student of NUS Singapore, so she got a full scholarship. And for all the participants here, please welcome Mita. Mita, the time is yours.
Thank you, Miss. Can I share screen? Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Mita Jasmine, and today I'll be sharing some useful tips to get into NUS, or also known as the National University of Singapore. Here's the table of contents for my presentation today. Before I begin, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Mita Jasmine, and I studied in Methodist Charles Wesley for 2 years and Singapore Intercultural School Medan for approximately 12 years. Aside from taking national school examination, I also took international examinations such as IGCSE and AS level. However, due to COVID-19, I was not able to take my A-level exam, but I still followed the lessons. And I am now currently pursuing a bachelor degree in material science and engineering. NUS is ranked 11th in the world and first in Asia Pacific by the QS World University Rankings. This is my NUS dream. It all started in 2018. The dream of going to NUS started in 2018, but the dream of having a university life in Singapore started in 2016. So my dad brought my family and I to Singapore, and we were very impressed by their cleanliness, by their strictly maintained government policies, and also the fact that there are a lot of greeneries despite it being a busy and bustling city. So at that moment, I knew that I have to go to Singapore to continue my studies. So in 2018, I approached my school principal and asked him to prepare a study tour to Singapore so that my friends and I can visit the prestigious universities in Singapore. We visited quite a lot of universities such as NUS, NTU, and a few more. However, the university that I fell in love at first sight was certainly NUS. So after the tour, I did a lot of research about NUS and even asked people about the requirements and so many more. Here are some pictures that I took in NUS together with my friends. So this guy here, he is a cis alumni who is also now a chemistry professor in NUS. NUS requirements. This is the application process. So you submit your application and make the application fee payment. For my case, it's $20. And then the step 2 is that you have to check if you're shortlisted for the UEE. But let's say you are not shortlisted for the UEE, you can submit an appeal. Appeal means that you're asking for a second chance from NUS. Sometimes they will give another opportunity for these students, but sometimes they will not. But I know a few people who actually got accepted by submitting their appeal too. So step 3, you take the UEE test, which is the entrance examination. And then step 4, you check your application status. The academic qualifications are divided into 2 groups: high school education and additional results. High school education from SMA 1 to SMA 3. But for the additional results, it's not compulsory for you to fill in. But if you have these results, then it will certainly boost up your application process. Application tips. When someone asks me about the tips, right, I will always say you have to manage your time effectively because that's the key to everything. Outstanding achievements. This is the moment for you to outstand from others. People often relate achievements to academic achievements such as spelling bee, Olympiad, science fair competitions, and so many more. But they always forget about non-academic achievements such as piano or computer and so many more. So for my case, I submitted competition certificates and I also told them that I participated in clubs and organizations. So I was a prefect for 7 years, a student council secretary for 1 year, and a photographer in my school for approximately 2 years. So I think that also boosted my application process. Community service. Community service means that you help people who are in need. So in my case, I visited a lot of orphanages, and I also taught orphans how to speak English, taught them mathematics, taught them how to sing. So that is something that you can boast about too. And the last one is the personal statement. So in the personal statement, just rant everything good about yourself. Talk about your experience, your activities, everything like that. It's very important, but make sure you make it short and clear and also persuasive. Honestly, I did not join a lot of competitions. So I really think that the one that made me accepted, or the one that made NUS accept me, is certainly not my certificates from the competitions, but I think it's this too. I assisted Sir Leslie with teaching my juniors, so I taught them mathematics and also primary student science. And aside from that, I also took 2 curriculums, which is A-level and national school curriculum. So that's like basically going to 2 different schools, one in English and one in Bahasa. How did I go through all this? Yeah, I managed my time effectively. And if you manage your time effectively, I think that you can excel in everything. Scholarship tips, the ASEAN scholarship. What is this scholarship? So this scholarship is basically for Southeast Asian students, excluding Singaporeans. So when you submit your application form, you are automatically registered for the scholarship process. But what plays a major role is the interview. So you have to do very well in the interview. What does the scholarship cover? The scholarship covers your tuition fee, and it also gives you living allowance. So I will get $5,800 every year from NUS. These are some interview tips that I would like to share. The first one, you have to be confident because you have to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, then who will trust you? The second one is you have to ask yourself why you want to choose the major. Do not give them theoretical and cliche answers. Talk about your life experience. Take, for example, mine. My major is material science and engineering, and my dad works in a filter cloth company. So I always see him with a stack of cloths. They look physically the same, but turns out they have different usages, completely different usages. So I was wondering, like, how is it possible for atoms to change the property of a material? Questions like that aroused my curiosity and interest towards material science and engineering. The third one is, what's your plan for the future? They will certainly ask you, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Questions like that. Please do not say that you want to go back to Indonesia, because your sponsor wants loyalty. You have to persuade them. You have to make them think that you are going to contribute to their society, to their community. But if, let's say, you're very nationalistic, then you probably can say that you want to work for a MNC company that exists in both Singapore and Indonesia. The last tip is that I would recommend, or I would suggest you guys to ransack NUS website. Learn everything about NUS, their programs, their research, everything, because they will certainly ask you about that. Final tips. You have to dream big, work hard, and pray harder. And most importantly, find the right support system. Do not surround yourself with negative people, because that will certainly bring you down. So find the correct support system, your family, your teachers, your friends. Thank you, everybody. That's all for my presentation.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mita, for the sharing. So again, everyone, if you have any questions to addressing to Mita, so you can type your questions in the chat room, and then we will discuss the question during the Q&A session later on. Okay. Next, let me share my screen again. We have the next inspiring session from our next speaker today. Okay.
Sorry, is that my turn?
Okay, here. So we have our next speaker. We have Kevin Andrew. So Kevin Andrew is the student at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. So Kevin Andrew, you can start sharing your experience, and the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, do you guys see the screen?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay. Okay, first of all, before we start, good job from Mita. It was a really good presentation. I did not go to a special school, unlike Mita, but I did just graduate. So, hello everyone, my name's Kevin. I'm talking to you from Boston at 4:48 in the morning. I study engineering, mechanical engineering, and I just graduated this May. And I'm on to my master's studies in the same degree, but under a different concentration. So let's start. So we saw what Mita did with her NUS application. A lot of time management, preparation, a lot of certificates, a lot of achievements, and a lot of things that are not from the school. So things that are outside of school, community service, her projects, and all the other things. But now I want to talk about building a portfolio. While Mita's portfolio is geared towards applications for universities, mine was geared towards finding a job. So what's it like finding a job in the US? And I did that using a portfolio. Okay, so first of all, why build one portfolio? Why build a portfolio? First, it increases your job opportunities. All your project schematics organized in one place. you get to stand out from the crowd. Most STEM applicants, so STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they do not have a portfolio. Even if they do, it's really, really rare. Most portfolios are required for art students, but why don't we use this technique and enhance our own applications? So again, a good portfolio can be a huge decision factor for recruiters, and I'm going to show you why. So I'll show you my portfolio. Okay. Do you guys see this one? The other presentation? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this is what a portfolio looks like. It can be a PowerPoint. It can be a website. It can be your Instagram page. That could be a portfolio. It could be a PDF. And it could be in many other forms. But this is what I chose for mine. So this is what an engineering portfolio looks like. So there's an introduction. So my name, what I'm doing currently. So hello, my name is Ken Andrew, currently a master's student at UMass Lowell under mechanical engineering. This portfolio shows a few of the most significant projects I've worked on. So really brief introduction, and then the agenda. So the agenda, I have 3 projects I worked on. I have more, but I only chose 3 because for job applications, you keep it short. You want to keep it concise for recruiters so they don't take too much, you don't take too much time out of them. So these are just my projects. This is my capstone project, and these are all the work. This is all the work, and then these are more simulations and then more projects, CAD projects. So this is how I built mine. It doesn't have to be really long. It's only 10 slides. And yeah, so that's pretty much for a portfolio, or what portfolio looks like. Let's get back to this one. Okay. So another thing about having a portfolio is, first of all, it takes probably about an hour and a half to make a portfolio. And you get to learn a few things too. First of all, you learn that it's really important to document your own work. Mita, I'm saying this directly to you. You're just starting a university, document your work, organize everything, have everything in place. That's really good practice. Recruiters are always interested in your projects. I've been to 3 job interviews, and every single one of them was asking me about my projects, what I did, what I worked with, how long the project took, the content of the actual project, and other details. For portfolio, however, your details don't all need to be there. That's what your lab report is for. Keep it concise and just add in the important details. And second of all, and I'm not joking, you learn to stand out. When you're looking for a job, you're not competing against just your classmates. You have other schools, especially in the area I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. A lot of tech companies, a lot of startups, a lot of new up-and-coming companies. You have to keep competing. So if you don't look good and the others look good, what are you gonna do, right? So you learn to stand out. You use a portfolio. Like I said, STEM applicants, not many of them have a portfolio. So learn to stand out, build one. Okay. And then the other thing is your creative design skills. I stuck with engineering for 4 years. Did not take any art classes, no electives, nothing. Mostly engineering classes. Even if I took electives, they were economics and they had nothing to do with art. So as you can see, that portfolio that I showed you was colorful, it was purple, bright colors. So creative design skills. Engineers need that. That's why you learn to stand out, because everyone then looks the same. If you have a good portfolio that you can show, that's an advantage for you. So that's pretty much it about building a portfolio. But I do want to share a few more things about learning in the US or studying in the US. First of all, engineering is a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights. I'm not here to discourage you. I'm just saying, engineering it's a hard degree, but it takes a lot of perseverance, and if you have the guts to do it, I say you can always try. Also in the US, your first year does not count towards your degree. So what I'm saying is you can try out your first year. If you don't like it, you can switch majors. So that's how things work in the US. It just happened to really work out for me. I liked it, stuck, and now I'm doing my master's degree in the same place. I think that's it.
Okay, so thank you
Thank you,
for the
guys.
wonderful sharing, Kevin. So once again, everyone, if you would like to ask questions to our speakers, so please kindly type out your question in the chat room, and we will discuss them during the Q&A session later on, okay? Yep, let me share my screen again. Okay, so after Kevin, we have our next, we call it junior speaker, probably. Okay, so the next one, we will have Wei. So, hi Wei, are you with us already? So, Wei, okay, hi. So Wei is a 16-year-old boy from Indonesia. So he will share about his projects, okay? So Wei, if you are ready, so you can start sharing your project. The time is yours, Wei.
Okay, Miss. Here it is.
Okay, so can you make it full screen, Wei, and then you can start sharing.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Wei. Now I want to present my digital project bootcamp. I make door alarm. Materials need microbit board, Lego, character testing. Identify the problem is entry and exit movement control in the store user, store operator. When customer entry and exit the store, convenience store such as Indomaret, Alfamart, Alfamidi, etc. The problem happened because too many customer or few customer. Brainstorming. Solution and invention. My invention is movement control sensor project. Description, detect movement, entry, and exit the store. My invention works. When the sensor detects movement, will give alert sounds. The impact of my invention, such as less workers and cost saving or help operator to school to control. The documentation process making my Lego.
Wei, I think you forgot to share the sound. Maybe you can stop sharing first and you check on the share sound. Is it okay?
Okay, Miss. Yeah. This is a making 3D prototype. This is my coding program. This is project testing. This is the real life application. Done. I made this door alarm project to help the store to control the entry and exit of customers, thereby saving workers and saving expenses. But for now, I can use to my bedroom door so I can detect someone come into my bedroom. Finally, I hope this project can be useful for everyone. Thank you for seeing my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Wei, for sharing about your door alarm. So if anyone wants to ask more or to know more about door alarms, you can drop your questions and you can ask directly to the inventor, Wei. So Wei is here, okay? Next, so after Wei, we have another young inventor here. So he's going to share about his project as well. So let's meet Ken. Ken, are you here, Ken?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so Ken is going to share his invention called T-Man, right?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so the time is yours, Ken.
Oh, wait, okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Ken. Right now, I'm going to present you my present invention. Right now, I'm going to tell you about me. My name is Ken Won Lim and I'm 9 years old. I'm from Noble School Medan, Indonesia. Right now, I'm in primary 3. This academic year, I'm going to be primary 4. Before I program T-Man, I could program a motor. Here's what it looks like. Before I program a motor, I could only program a LED. Here's how the LED looks like. So right now, I'm going to show you the process. First, stick the main board there. And then I add something together with the main board that fill that gap. So make it straight. Make sure it covers all of it. And then add some cardboard piece to cover that gap. And here's how T-Man looks like. Now I'm going to tell you the instructions. To set the timer, we should press the yellow or the blue button. To close the timer, we don't need to do anything. To activate the fan, we should let the IR sensor to detect our hands. To close it, just need to shout. Here's a video. So press the blue button. Then 1 minute later, it will ring. Follow the IR sensors will trigger, and then the fan will activate. So just need to shout to close it. So right now you can see the before and after. So the before one, you can see it's a little darker and you can see there's something that's bent. And then it's not so good yet. You can still see the cables. So the after version is the red color and it's more colorful and then it's stronger. So as you can see, I have a little stand for the fan. I'll tell you the parts now. So at the sound bit, the function is to track the sound. And the function for fan is to close the fan. And so at the IR sensor to detect and to activate the fan. So at the buttons, the function are to set the timer. So at the fan and the function to keep us cold. Thank you for attention and have a nice day.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Ken. I noticed that you fixed the cover of your T-Man, right? You improve it already.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ken, for sharing. Okay. Again, if you guys have questions that you want to ask to our speakers, so you can just drop your question in the chat box, and we'll discuss all of them during the Q&A session later on. Okay. Yep. Okay. Next, we have our next speaker here. After Ken, we still have another 2 speakers for today. So the 5th speaker here, we have Leslie. So Leslie is the founder of Evergreen Institute. So without further ado, so Leslie, the time is yours.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Lisa. So yeah, we have a plan actually to launch the program together with KRIA. So we'll be focusing on the research method actually. So maybe the first one is, what is this about? Right? So let's say if we are at the interview sessions, like you're applying to a university and then the university is offering an interview sessions to understand more about you, like what Kevin and Mita said actually. I think the first two questions they will ask is like, why do you choose this major, and then why you deserve the scholarship, for example. Okay, so let's say, imagine that you are at an interview sessions and then someone is asking you about these two questions. So what will the answer be? Or what will you say? Because like, I like it. I like the major because my score is good. Yeah, for me, if you are applying to a good university or top universities, having a great score is a compulsory, right? I mean, like if you get B and then you try to apply to top university, basically you are wasting your time, I can say, because most or everyone that apply usually will have a score of A or A star if you're applying to a top universities. So having a great score actually doesn't make us stand out, because it's like everyone can do that, right? Because it's the top universities. So the next one is, we suggest like we have to make a portfolio or like writing paper. So the next question is what and how to write. So most of the students like questioning, right? What and how to write, for example. Well, the IB students, they definitely have to write 6 papers, right? So like or dislike, they have to write 6. But what about the students that come from a national school, for example? What about the students that come from a A-level course like that? So in the research method, right, we noticed that actually it's important to start teaching the students like how to write a proper scientific paper or how to prepare a proper portfolio. So maybe there are several questions that we can ask ourselves. For example, in the third one, how do we draw a hypothesis testing? So let's say I'm talking to a senior high school students, for example. They learn some theories that they want to prove. And okay, let's say they can take the samples and they have data. But the next question is how to withdraw the conclusions, for example. I think that's also one of the problem. And then should I carry out a qualitative or quantitative? Some of the students also don't understand what is qualitative and what is quantitative. And then let's say we talk about confidence interval and significance level, they also don't understand what is this. So in my opinion, for Indonesian students, I think it's quite blur for them to write something related to this. And also, when we are talking about writing paper, when we have data, I think the common one is students will talk about average. They will just draw a conclusion based on the average. But what if there are outliers, for example? And then to write a paper for biology and for physics, or maybe for mathematics, it will be different. So there are a lot of things that need to be explored, need to be taught properly for the students. So that's what we are working on the research method. This is also another question. So let's say if we want to do an observation, we have to carry out a certain sample size. How many sample size are needed to observe or to draw a conclusion, for example? So most of these things are not being taught at a senior high school, especially if we are sitting at a national school, for instance, right? And writing scientific paper is not the only way to stand out. I mean, like the project that Ken and Wei have shared actually is also one of the examples of a portfolio. So let's say if we have a cousin or nephew that they are still young, right? Sometimes I imagine like, what if they start doing something that they like from primary level, and then they can stick to these projects actually and keep on making it better until they are 17 years old. So when it comes to the university interview, when people ask them why you choose this major, or how can you show us that you actually like this major or this study, and they can just simply bring out their portfolio, the paper that they work on, the paper that they write. So in writing a paper, in joining a showcase, national, international, it's not about winning. So I don't see the point of winning or like lose in a showcase competitions. It's more to how you show people that you really have an interest in this major, right? Because the university doesn't want to accept someone that doesn't have an idea and just pick pick a random major to study. I think that's the important points for me. Thank you, Ms. Lisa.
Okay, so thank you so much, Leslie, for sharing. Yep. Next, we will have our very last speaker for today. Okay. Yep. So our last speaker for today is Antonius. So he's the learning experience designer and also the creativity and innovation coach. Okay. So, yep. So Antonius, are you ready to share?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Yep. The time is yours.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. I think before I start, I would like to say hello to, I think, somebody from Philippines here. I think Mr. Arlan. Hi, Mr. Arlan.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
fine.
Thank you so much for coming. I
Thank
think
you, thank
later,
you.
yeah, I think later if we still have time, maybe moderator can asking about what happened in Philippines and how also doing this kind of things.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Sure.
for, yeah. And also from Brunei, I think we have Berliana right now here also. So yeah, I think after this session, we can also share a bit. I think we still have time about 30 minutes later to discuss and question and answer. All right. So I would like to share about my part is only a do wrapping from Mita and then Kevin, Kay, Kant, and also what Leslie mentioned. So we just do wrap it up and also program kickoff. Yeah, so my name is Antonius. So the things is what we discussed from start from Mita and then Kevin and then until Leslie is actually we are talking about preparing our skill. So I would like to quote the top 10 skill for 2025 from World Economic Forum at this moment. So as we see here that we need analytical thinking, we are always talking about innovation. We are talking about active learning strategies like I think we can see how Mita and Kevin they share about what is their learning strategies. All right, and then try to come up with the complex problem solving. Like even Can and Wei already shared about how they started very early to solve the problem and then come up with the critical thinking and an analysis. I think we can see how Wei shared about what is the kind of problem that he want to solve. So yeah, that kind of critical thinking and doing analysis before proposing the solution. And then there is creativity, originality, and initiative. This is the theme that we are uh, doing as well, which is on the previous educators meet talk. Since we also have regular educators meet and then we discuss, and this is the first highlight that we are doing an upload before. And then there is a leadership like social influence. Mita already mentioned about community service, right? How you, again, I think I still remember how Mita mentioned about how you can give back to the society. So, yeah, in terms of making something for your society, you need leadership, you need social influence. All right. In other case, we know that we are in the pandemic. We are not easy to go out traveling or doing something like proper before. And here where technology use, monitoring and control. We are working from home, we are study from home, and then how people still can do monitoring and also control what they want to control. All right. There is technology design and programming, a simple part how we and can show just now how they designing the technology, how they designing the solution, and how they do programming for it. And then this is a very uh, popular right now: resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility, since we are in the uncertainty condition. And the last part is reasoning why, and like why Kevin went to US, why Mita choose NUS, for example. There is reasoning, there is problem solving rather than complaining, and also try to propose the idea. So that's why we call it their ideation. So this is the top skills of 2025. I think we are not waiting until 2025. Even now, we realize that it's happened right now. This is the thing that we need to be equipped for ourselves. All right, so that's the first thing that preparing skills. And then I would like to share about, like Kevin already shared, Mita already shared, Wei, and also Can also shared, and how is the learning cycle. Everybody will have their learning style, how they learn something. So in this part, I would like to propose this: how we can do something by inspired by something. Like for example, I know we know just now like how Mita choose NUS because she got inspired, and how clean is the NUS, and then how good is the university. We are not talking about like, oh, then like the universities in Indonesia is nothing. No, it's a different. Everybody has their purpose. So, and when everybody have the purpose, it's because of there's inspiration for them. So when we get inspired, and then we hope that we can create something. So create something to the society, create solution for the problem or something else. All right, in other part, when we already done with the creation or the invention or the solution, it's time for us to dedicate to the society, bring back to the society. Again, I quote what Mita mentioned. But in this part, during my life, I realized that these three things can be happen by doing collaboration. So this is how we're gonna do learning activities, and then we try to see then how we can start. From what Mita said, I think the simple thing that we can start from hobbies and interest. Like if you love robotic, you can do it. If you love singing, you can do that. If you love to play music, just do that, and start a simple project with it. Okay, so if if you love playing football, go ahead, start a simple project with that. All right, and then if you love robotic, go and do it. It's a tool for you to help you to solve the problem. So try to find it that related to your daily life, right? And then after that, again, my thing is only doing a wrap up. So my slide is just me during all speakers talking, and then after that, build the portfolio. All right, register all your works and put them in your portfolio. After you register everything, and then like Kevin mentioned, you just choose like which one is the outstanding works that you have, and then you put there. To for what, like Kevin mentioned, like bring it from the crowd. Everybody, can you imagine when you want to go to the market, and then everybody sell the same thing, the same color, the same size, and then how people can choose it? So the simple thing is, like for example, if everybody sell black, and then try to sell red, for example. That's the simple thing, but I know it's not that simple. Again, it's you have to relate to what is the needs. So start building your portfolio. Okay, and then find your stage. Mita mentioned again. I just quote everybody's sharing right now. Like Mita mentioned about, oh, I did joining hackathon, I did joining a competition, I did joining the showcase or something. And I realized that Ken here, she just attended as a speaker this morning. She was interviewed by American people and then asking about his project. Am I right, Ken? Hi, Ken.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So Ken start to showcase his project, or in other case, you can find your showcase or your exhibition, your conference, or competition. Again, it's not just show up about your achievement, not only for beating the other people and only become a winner, but again to build your portfolio. All right. Okay, so this is kind of things that we already done so far. Like in this July, we will have Kids Conference for Indonesian because we will have Hari Anak Nasional. So it will be like Indonesian Children's Day. But we will have another international kids conference in November. So yeah, everybody, kids, you can try this conference and then you can showcase your work. If you love bioinformatics, biology plus programming, you can join this program as well. We have bioinformatics. You will meet expert. You will meet professional industry in terms of bioinformatics, and we will have the international food challenge where you will try to solve the problem on zero hunger in sustainable development goals. And in other case, we have digital project bootcamp, which is what Kay and Wei and Kant has done before, and then we will work for this. So regarding on this, I think Leslie already mentioned about what we're gonna do from Medan. This is previously we want to propose this for Medan people, but right now we open to anybody from any places. We will support you from Medan, which is we are ready to learn together with you from Medan in science and technology. So if you guys love science, you love technology, you can discuss later and then we can try to prepare your project that related to science and technology. And Kevin already mentioned also there's the term STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and start to build it. I can say that not all kids will interest to join this kind of things. Again, find your passion, find your interest, and then try to build your portfolio. So in this case, we hope that we can do boot camp, we can do after school program, research class, like Leslie mentioned just now. We are talking about technology. Remember, when we talk about technology, it's not only digital, we are talking about mechanical technology, we talking about biology in technology as well. So we are also open for teachers. We can work together and we will have the session for this thing also. So I think that's all things that I can share at this moment. Let's do something good. Let's build the portfolio and let's collaborate. Thank you so much. Back to you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you so much for the impressive sharing and also information about the new program that kids can joining and also educators. So since it was the program kicked off in Medan, but since we have it online, so it means everyone can join it, right?
Yes, we are open for anybody. I think right now, for your information, we have students from Philippines, we have students from Vietnam, we have students from Thailand as well. So we are welcome for anyone.
Okay, so yep. So if you are interested in joining the session, so you can contact us later on. You can contact our social media as well. Okay. So thank you so much for all the 4 speakers and also 2 young inventors for sharing. Now that we have done with the sharing session, so we will now open the floor for the question from the participants. But once again, please, if you have something to ask to each of them or all of the speakers, so you can just drop your questions in the chat room. And you can also use the raise hand function if you want to ask the questions directly. Okay. Yep. So let's have the question for address for Mita. I think we have some questions. Okay. Okay, here we have the first question was asked by Ken. So Mita, was your tour to NUS good?
It was very good. I am very fascinated by their laboratory and also their facilities. And when you enter NUS, it's like you're entering a completely different city because it's very big. So it's wonderful. The experience was wonderful.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully it answers the question from Ken. And the second one, still for Mita. So can you please share about how you made your portfolio to be submitted to the NUS?
Oh, for my case, because I don't take a design or art, I did not submit a portfolio, but I submitted certificates and also my personal statement. Maybe I can share to you guys a little bit of my personal statement.
Yes, please.
Here in the personal statement part, I mentioned everything about myself, like the fact that I can play the piano, I take Mandarin examinations, and also my experience, my teaching experience in Evergreen Institute. And then somewhere here, I also talk about me learning new stuff. Because of the advancement of technology, I have to keep myself equipped with the basic knowledge of coding, programming. So I signed up for AutoCAD and Python classes. And I also conducted a microbit workshop for SDH students. Yeah, I think that's all. And then this is my experience, my community service experience here, and some scholarship tests that I took, and my interest in material engineering.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Mita. Hopefully it can help the others who are still preparing their application as well. Okay, now that we have answered the questions addressed for Mita, but if you guys still want to ask Mita, you can just drop your question in the chat box, okay? Next, let me continue with the next questions. We have questions for Kevin. So, hi Kevin, I'm curious how's academic life in the US and what is the difference compared to when you were in high school?
Okay. First of all, how much time do I have
For
for the Q&A?
answering the question?
Yeah, for answering questions.
We still have a lot of time
Lot
for
of time?
Q&A,
Okay.
so no worry.
Because this is, I'm just worried it's just a really broad question. So, but yeah. Okay, let's answer this. What's the difference when you were in high school? Academic life. Okay. First, you realize how much you don't have. When you start in Medan, you grew up there, right? Friends, family, teacher. You have a lot of people, you have your own network, you have your own base. But once you get to the US, that's when you realize you're all alone, unless you have family there, right? I came here, no one was, I knew no one except my aunt, but that was it. So you realize from the start that there's a lot of things from back home that you take for granted. That's for sure. Because back home, it's like every day you have, I don't know, the people that are close around you. And then once you get to the US, you start from a clean slate. You don't know anyone. Yeah, that's one of the very, actually, you know what? That's probably the most noticeable thing that you'll find out the first time you start school. So that's really different from back home. Another thing I want to touch on is the structure of academic life in the US. Back home is very structured, right? You have your school curriculum, you do this, take your test, and then that's it. So I want to touch on what Mr. Leslie said about diversifying your portfolio or diversifying your skills. Good scores are number one, right? But once you pass good scores, you need to have all the other skills. These kids that apply to American schools, they go to summer camps for programming, coding. So Mita, well done, you did the right steps. So these kids, not just good scores, they have a lot of skills. In Indonesia, we're too focused on our scores. No good. Here, no good. Once you pass a certain GPA, just like recruitment for jobs, your minimum required GPA is 3.3, right? In the US, once you pass 3.3 is really good already, right? But once you pass 3.3, that's it. The differentiating factor are your skills, your projects, your extracurricular activities, everything that makes you different, sets you apart. If you look the same as everyone else, no point. Especially for international students, one warning: in the US, you start off at a disadvantage. Why I say that is because as an international student, the paperwork that you have to go through or the employers that have to go through, that's a lot. So you have to present yourself as the worth it candidate. Why are you worth it? Why are you worth why are you worth this much to this company? Why should they hire you? You have to stand out, especially as an international student, because you have to go through much more to hire you than they have to go through hiring a local. Okay. And then one more thing about the difference in like academic life in the US and Medan. You grow up there. You're gonna spend, well, hopefully you spend for 3-4 years to complete your degree. You're gonna grow up. There's a lot of things that you learn here that you don't learn back home. That's very personal, from your networking. And you all have to know that when you pay for school, you're not paying just for your degree. You're paying for your network. You have to build a network. You can't just stay at school, oh, I'm gonna do my tests, I'm gonna do my homework, I'm gonna get A's, I'm gonna get a 4.0 GPA. Pointless. You don't have your network, pointless. I'm sorry, it is pointless. I already experienced this myself. You have a 4.0 GPA, but you have nothing to prove besides your GPA. It's not gonna help you. So you have to build everything that you can consider an asset, build it. So apart from that thing, that's the only difference. So in Indonesia, curriculum is very structured, very rigid. In the US, it's a bit more free. And explore, try new things. You're not paying just for the school, you're paying for the experience.
Okay, thank you. So to sum up, it means like having a good grade is not the important thing, but your performance is,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Thank you. Hopefully that answers the question from
think this was from Mr. Antonius
Okay, from Mr. Antonius. Okay.
and Gilbert.
Okay. And okay. And also the question from Gilbert about this one, the importance of portfolio for future jobs. Okay. Thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing. Now let's see the next question. Okay, we have a
I think I have
question
a
here.
second question. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
From
Oh,
Gilbert.
okay. So, yep. Sorry. So for the second question, we still have a question here from Gilbert. So, also asked to Kevin. So when and how did you first realize the importance of a portfolio in applying for future jobs? And where did you learn how to do a portfolio just like yours? Maybe if you can help Gilbert in this.
Yeah. So, Gilbert, to answer your question, I realized this. So, for people who don't know, Gilbert and I were classmates in high school.
Okay.
So, Gilbert, the reason I realized this was from one of our common classmates, our mutual classmates. Not going to mention any names. But she did a portfolio for her art school, and I took a look at that portfolio when she was applying. So I took a look at that portfolio. She shared it to me, and then I was browsing through it. I said, "This looks really good, and why is this only required for art students? Why can't engineering students do the same?" For school applications, it is really useful if you do have a portfolio as an engineering student or STEM, so in any of your STEM majors. It's very uncommon. So I thought, why don't I just do this? I'll apply for jobs using the same technique. Employers don't necessarily require you to have a portfolio, but most employers, when you apply, so I applied online through LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, a lot of other, platforms. So sometimes they ask you for supporting documents. It's where they ask you to submit a file. So those supporting documents, number one, resume, of course. Number one, resume. And then some will ask you for your CV or your school transcript, depending on what position they're asking for. And then the supporting documents, they don't tell you that you can't add more. You have to realize that. They don't tell you that you cannot add more. So add more. I added my portfolio. Did I get a job? Unfortunately not. The job market was really down because I applied during May. The vaccines were just starting out. Companies were just starting to restart their programs. It wasn't a good look for me and my friends who were applying this May for the summer/fall semesters. None of us did really well in job searching. I just have to say that. But if you do have a portfolio, it is a really good advantage. So that's when I realized why it's important to do a portfolio. Just some anecdotal evidence for all of you. From my group of friends, the only one who has when I say group of friends, it's our batch. So just people who just hang around each other. We have around 25 people. The only one that has a portfolio is me. 25 people. The only one that has a portfolio is me. Graduating class, 100-something people. And I like my chances, 1 to 25. I like those odds, right? Because nobody else has this advantage but me. When you're in a competitive job market, especially here in Massachusetts, it's a really good tool to have. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Gilbert.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. Hopefully it helped in answering Gilbert's question. Okay. Next, we have a question for Wei. So, hi Wei, I'm Kevin. So this is a question from Kevin. What was the toughest part of coding your door alarm? So maybe Wei, you can share a bit about your experience in making your door alarm.
The toughest part of coding for me is coding to adjust the approximate distance between the sensor and the project. And the
Miss
object.
Lai, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Kevin, do you want to add more?
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask Wei directly.
Yep.
Like when he was Wei, when you were going through your design process, when you were building your project, how many times did you try? How many times did you adjust for you to get the right settings on your door alarm? For how much time did you spend on it?
4 and 6 times.
4 6 times? Okay. Yeah, that's it then.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you for the question. And
Now,
also,
now my door alarm can detect about 40 meters.
oh, wow. It can detect
Now
up
my
to
door alarm
40
can
meters.
detect about 4 meters.
4
Oh,
meters.
okay.
Wow. It's
Good job.
it's a great update and improvement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now that I think I'm going to ask the same questions to Ken, since Ken is also doing the same project but different function. So Ken, what is the hardest part when you are doing your project? Maybe you can share a bit.
The hardest part of doing the project is the timer, because for the fan it has a little kind of simple code, but for the timer is for the first time it needs a hard code, and then until I found a new code that works, is better and is easier, so I just change the second code.
Okay. Ken, is it possible to show your T-man to us? And if possible to demonstrate it?
Well, so here's the demonstration. So as you can see here, it's more colorful, and then if we shout, it will stop. So this is the IR sensor, this one, and then if you shout, it will stop. Ah, it will stop.
Okay, thank you so much, Ken, for
Yeah.
the demonstration. Yeah, I saw the red cover. It's very great. You improve it. Okay, thank you. Next, do we have more question here? Oh. Okay. So I guess we still have around 10 minutes for the Q&A session. So if anyone wants to ask the question directly, so you can just open your mic and also your video, so you can just ask the question. Or maybe we can ask Mr. Adlan, is he still here? Or, oh, we still have, hi, Mr. Adlan. Maybe you can share a bit about how important is portfolio in the educational system or institutes in the Philippines.
Okay. Hi. Good afternoon.
Hi.
So, I would like to ask question from Antonio, because we are interested to join the contest. Because we are now exposing our students in the international contest. That's why we are looking for some contest that we can join.
Yeah. Okay. Lisa, maybe I can ask directly about it.
Yes, please.
Mr. Arlan, I live my WhatsApp number to your personal chat. So I will send the information later to you. Okay.
Okay.
Or maybe you can text me your WhatsApp number also. Then I can we can connect later.
Or maybe I can give my email ad.
Yeah, sure. You can.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so maybe Antrish, you can share a bit about how important portfolio is when you were still a student, then compared to the importance of the portfolio itself for the students these days.
Okay. Here in the Philippines, in my personal insight about that portfolio, so that will give you the overall, so that you cannot forget the other. You can write there your skills, your talents, so that if someone or you need that for your job, so you can uh, visit your portfolio. That will give a big help for you to remember, because we cannot remember everything, so we can put there, and then if we need it, so we can retrieve from that portfolio. So in that case, we are now integrating that in our students, how to make their portfolios, so that in the future use, uh, they can easily browse the what they need for that. So we need to integrate that as early as high school, I think, so that they can be familiar with that. With that. Sorry, I cannot open my camera because of the signal here in the Philippines that is not stable.
Okay, it's fine, no worries. Okay, thank you for sharing about how portfolio play roles in the educational system in the Philippines, Mr. Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so now let's have a shout out to Berliana. So Berliana, are you with us? Can you share a bit about how,
Hello,
yeah, how, hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, so Berliana, can you share a bit about the importance of portfolio itself in the educational system in Brunei Darussalam from your experience?
So generally, portfolio is very important to. It is like a tool to showcase ourselves, to represent ourselves, and for us Bruneians, we usually need portfolio for presenting our projects or um, going into internships like that, and yeah, I actually relate to the speakers that actually tell the importance of portfolio, and it is actually the same in Brunei. And um, in Brunei, like we actually have this accredited agency that is centralized for institutions like schools or universities, and like this agency will cater the students and making their portfolio and also as well as their personal statements to further their studies um like if they want to have internship or any international programs like that. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Berliana, for the sharing. Now that we have the insights about portfolio from several countries, so that the participants here or also our watchers on YouTube can have like richer knowledge about how they can prepare their portfolios. Okay. Okay. So now that it's 4:57 p.m. in my time here. Now we're almost at the end of our session. So before we officially end, so let's take a group selfie, everyone. So for all the participants, if you are comfortable, so please turn on your video and make sure that we can see you so that we can take a proper picture. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so yep. Once again, if you are comfortable with your camera on, so you can just turn on your camera, and I'm going to take the picture twice. So I'm going to take the first one in 3, 2, 1. And the second one, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Yep, so we'll post this picture on our Instagram next week, probably. Okay, so if you haven't followed us on our Instagram, so please, you can follow us at kriya.global and then at Evergreen Institute 2012 and also at Kriya Academia. I will post it here in the chat box. Okay, so okay, now it's already the end of our session. So dear our honorable audience, thank you for your active participation. We hope that you have learned a lot from this webinar and program kickoff as well. And for our esteemed speakers, we have Mita, Kevin, Wei, Ken, Leslie, and Antonio. So thank you so much for your inspiring sharing. So I believe that it will be really helpful for the participants in preparing for their portfolio and their future education. Okay, so we are glad to meet you again in our next online session. So see you and let's collaborate. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.
Kevin, Mita, thank you so much. Can, Wei, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you to you too.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Wei. Bye, Ken.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Kevin.
bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.